Okay, so Apple is crashing today more than 4% right now. It is trying to trigger a very, very problematic, dangerous and bearish chart pattern right now, today, at this moment. I'm gonna explain to you guys this pattern later, but keep in mind, this is the third time Apple is doing this pattern this century. When was the first two, Nathan? I think you know. First time, 2000. Second time, 2008. And this time is the third time. It is a very problematic, very dangerous pattern. I'm gonna explain to you guys more details in this video. First, welcome my dear friends to the Finance Hydra channel. My name is Nathan. Let's analyze Apple's price action, starting with the daily chart. In the daily chart, Apple is clearly in a bear trend. Why? Because we are still doing lower highs, lower lows, trading below the 21 EMA. Great. Now, we are losing the 128, this red line over here, 128. Keep the 128 in mind. Do not forget about the 128 because this is the most critical point on Apple. You will understand later. It is not only because it was a previous support level on June 2022, but because it is an extremely important bearish trigger point on Apple. Now, it is doing a massive bearish candlestick pattern today, indicating that it is trying to seek the next technical support level at 121. If we analyze the weekly chart, the 121 was previously a support level on May 2021 over here, right? So in theory, a previous bottom level is supposed to work as a future support level. The volume is decreasing as well. Apple looks a little bit oversold, right? We are dropping consistently for weeks. We are quite far away from the 21 EMA. The volume is decreasing over here. If we analyze some indicators, RSI is around 31 right now. The stochastic is at quite low levels. The OBV is not doing anything meaningful, but it is just confirming the bearish sentiment. So it feels like, oh, in addition, we are at the lower part of the Bollinger Bands over here, near the lower band. So it feels like Apple is oversold. And if you ask me, I think Apple is oversold as well. I think we deserve a reaction. The problem is, we have yet to see a crystal clear bullish reaction. Right now, there is not a single bullish pattern. There is not a single bullish structure indicating that Apple is going to bounce, to reverse, or at least to retest the 21 EMA in the daily chart again. There is absolutely no bullish evidence at all. What could be a good bullish evidence in your opinion, Nathan? Well, if Apple, in the 1 hour chart, for instance, in the 1 hour chart, if Apple breaks the 129.93, well, $130, alright? Let's keep this a round number. If we break 130, I think Apple has decent chances of bouncing again to the 21 EMA at least. And this could be the beginning of a reversal, but in theory, the trend would still be bearish and Apple would still be nothing but a sell. Now, why the 129 and 130 is such an important key point to you, Nathan? Because it was previously a support/resistance level multiple times on Apple in the 1 hour chart. Okay, so short term speaking, this is the key point Apple has to break in order to start reversing the bearish sentiment. Start to reverse, alright? It is not going to be crystal clear reversal, but it is going to be the first sign we need to see on Apple in order to believe it is going to bounce to higher levels. I described the 129 in more details on my newsletters. Remember to check my website, join the top 5% of traders that can actually beat this market and make some money. We are doing quite well so far, so consider subscribing. Check my website. The link is in the description of this video. Now, the 120, I hope you guys didn't forget about the 128. This red line over here, was a previous bottom level on Apple on June this year. And if we analyze the monthly chart, this is the monthly chart, okay? Every single candle represents one entire month. So we are talking about long term over here. 128 is a crystal clear bearish trigger point of a possible pivot point, bearish pivot point. We are already losing this point, right? But if Apple actually loses this red line over here, Apple is going to do this pattern over here, a lower high, lower low. In theory, a bull trend is made of higher highs, higher lows, right? The price has to keep going up and it has to drop once in a while in order to correct, in order to trigger a pullback, etc. Because nothing can go up forever, right? So this is going to be a classic reversal structure. It is going to be a lower high, lower low. When did Apple do this, right? Lower high, lower low in the past. Clearly, we see a crystal clear lower high, lower low on Apple on 2008 over here. It is quite similar, right? If you analyze it is unsettling similar. So we see a lower high, lower low. We corrected to lower levels, and before that, 2000 over here, lower high, lower low. I think you guys can see it clearly, right? See, lower high, lower low. So in theory, yes, Apple has more room to drop from here right now where we are at this moment. And this is why the 128 is such a critical key point, because if we actually trigger this bearish pivot point, it is going to indicate a further correction on Apple. And we could easily correct because, well, some indicators, they are telling us that the market is a little bit expensive right now at this moment. So a correction on Apple would be totally normal, expected, given this chart over here. So for how long could we potentially drop? I don't know for how long, but we could keep an eye on some important key points on Apple. For instance, we can use Fibonacci. I love Fibonacci. Fibonacci is such an amazing tool. Always use Fibonacci if you want to assess the best key points in case of a correction. Alright, so using Fibonacci over here, the 128 is not only a previous bottom level, but it is around the 38.2% Fibonacci's retracement. The first retracement over here, which is the most important right now at this moment. But what if Apple loses this retracement? Usually, most of the time, in my humble experience as a retail trader, remember guys, I'm not a guru, I'm not working in this industry, I'm just a retail trader like you, like everybody else over here. In my humble experience, when a stock or any kind of asset, a cryptocurrency, I don't know, anything, when we see the price ignoring the first retracement, the 38.2, usually the 50% retracement works as a support level. Usually, most of the time, indicating that if Apple keeps dropping from here like crazy, the next support level is 108, 107, which is quite interesting because this support level was a previous support on September, October, and November 2020, as we see over here. So this is the next technical support level I would work with on Apple for the long term. Now, Nathan, what if Apple reacts over here? What if we see Apple bouncing to higher levels from the 38.2% right here, right now? Well, therefore, we gotta see a good bullish reaction right now at this moment, as soon as possible, preferably this week, right? So, if Apple is going to react, we'll have our answer quite soon. And if it actually reacts, okay, maybe we are going to avoid a stronger bearish sentiment all the way down to the 107 over here. But if Apple bounces and ignores the 38.2% again, usually when we see the 38.2% being respected, First, usually it ignores the 50% afterwards and it seeks the 61.8%. Okay, so if Apple bounces, it gotta bounce very, very nicely. We must bounce to a certain point that it is going to reverse the trend in the midterm, preferably breaking the 21 EMA, doing a lower high, a higher high, higher low in the daily chart. This is required for Apple to avoid a further bearish scenario. If we just keep dropping, okay, 50%. If we bounce a little bit to drop again, 61.8% retracement. Keep these key points in mind. The 50% retracement is at 108. The 61.8 is at $90 over here. So it all depends on how Apple is going to react from here right now. Either way, we'll have our answer this week. And if you're still watching this video, seriously, click on the like button to support this channel. Subscribe to keep in touch with my daily analysis, daily insights on Apple, Tesla, and many other stocks. I think you guys are going to appreciate my work over here. Thank you very much for your audience, my dear friends. See you guys tomorrow. Stay safe. Farewell.